Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. It's been a little over a week now since the Cold War lights dropped. Well, it's actually been almost 2 weeks actually by the time this video is released. But for those that don't know, the background for me with Cold War is that I've really not played it that much. I free XP'd the M46, I played the M47 all the way through, and I've kind of stopped at the M48. I do have the T44 and the T54, but I've not progressed any further than Era 1 with the mediums. That's where I was with Cold War until the lights dropped. I've been playing World War II up until the release of the light tanks. And I've pretty much been playing nothing but the light tanks since they dropped. Because for me personally, they are so much fun to play. You start out with the M24 Chaffee, which is a good place to start with this line. It's got average concealment for Cold War tanks, light tanks I should say. The gun is, it's decent, it's not terrible, it's not amazing, it's good. And the maneuverability for a light tank is, I'd say it's pretty decent. It's not terrible, it's not great. You're not going to outrun any of the mediums really. You're just as quick as the mediums, so it's a good place to learn the playstyle of Cold War light tanks. That is the Chaffee, that is. After the Chaffee, you've got from memory, it's the M41A1 Bulldog. So I just call it the Bulldog. I've always known it as the Bulldog, even in World War II. To me, it's the Bulldog. And this is the top light tank for Era 1. And I gotta say, the Bulldog is an absolute beast. it's quick, the concealment's pretty good, it packs a punch, it's accurate, and it's got decent hit points. And I've had an absolute blast in the Bulldog. It's an absolutely fantastic tank for Era 1. But actually, I need to caveat that. From what I've just said, you'd think, oh, the Bulldog's incredible. It's the one to keep. Don't be fooled by the Chaffee though. The Chaffee can still hold its own against the Bulldog, even though it's a tier down. So, I made the mistake of thinking, oh, I can just ram that Chaffee. No. If you ram a Chaffee in the Bulldog comes off worse. That's a mistake I made. So that, in a nutshell, is Era 1. Era 2 starts with a choice. You can take the M113 tank destroyer, which looks like a bread box, or you can take the T92. Given I am playing the Cold War light tanks, I went with the T92. And this thing is totally different to the Chaffee and the Bulldog. The Chaffee and the Bulldog are what I would call traditional lights. You play them in a very similar manner to World War II light tanks, in my opinion. That's how it works. You have to keep moving, you spot while you can, and you put shots out when you can. That is absolutely not the case with the T92, or at least that's not how I play the T92. The T92, which is the tank you're seeing here, is in World War II, it's a tier 8 premium. And I think you've got the standard T92 and you've got the T92 Falcon, so there's two variants in World War II. But in Cold War, it is a Tech Tree tank, and it plays, like I've said, totally differently to the Chaffee and the Bulldog. The T92 is, in my opinion, the first true scout of Cold War. Pulling the trigger is the last thing you want to be doing in this thing, because while the gun is accurate and has a very fast reload, the alpha is pretty small. You're really not gonna have that much of an impact if the tank you're coming up against is full health and it's a heavy or it's a medium. So pulling the trigger is the last thing you want to be doing in this thing. Your weapon in the T92 is its concealment. with a fully skilled crew, which is what I've got in this clip here. I've got a fully skilled crew. And I've set it up for concealment. The enemy, you have to get within, and I'll play the clip here. You have to get within 32 meters of the enemy tank before they spot you. And I'm recording this before I actually put the clips together because my computer can't actually handle the clips. So if I'm not making sense right now with the footage, I apologize. But I did do this in a live game. I drove up behind an M60A3 that didn't know I was behind him, and I just aimed down the sight and I used the distance the measurement for distance to the target to work out what my true concealment was. 32 meters. You get within 32 meters and you get spotted. This is your weapon in this tank. This is how you can pull off things like capping a game out for the full 2 minutes 24 seconds with 4 enemy tanks in the cap circle looking for you. And that's how you can play. You're invisible. You're a ghost. The enemy team will not know you are there, and because they don't know you're there, the tactic for playing this tank is totally different to all others, in my opinion. You have to keep an eye all around you at all times because you're relying on your concealment and your view range, which means that you've got to get into a position where you can see the enemy but they can't see you. And I've had this a couple of times where I'm in concealment, and because I'm not paying attention, a tank has come up behind me that isn't spotted on the minimap, and they've accidentally proxy spotted me, or in some cases they've driven through the same bush as me and just rammed me. That happened to me in the T92 against the Hiss. A Hiss came through and rammed me to death. He probably didn't even know I was there. He was just driving through a bush and bam, he got a kill. So lucky for him. And like I've said, pulling the trigger is the last thing you want to do. The only time in this tank that I would pull the trigger is if you need to support a friendly, so the enemy's attention is elsewhere, or you've got a lone tank like an M60 or what's this? Whatever the bottom tier Russian version is. Is it T72? I can't remember. I don't know. I don't know the mediums. But if it's a bottom tier, you can take them. You might lose a little bit of health in the process, but you can take them. What I'm going to attempt to do now is commentate over this game, and I think this may be a mistake on my part, because normally when you talk over a game, there's something to talk about. But I'm sitting in a bush, and this might not be everyone's cup of tea. This playstyle probably isn't for everyone. But this is how you play the T92. You find a position of advantage, you find concealment, and you sit there. And you have to rely on your team to shoot the targets that you're spotting. One thing I can talk about, though, while we watch me Kimp Bush, is the idea of the spotting mechanics, the notion around the spotting mechanics in Cold War. I've heard a couple of people question, if it's true vision, how do you get spotting assist? Well, the answer to that really is the same way you do in World War II. The spotting mechanics are still there. They still function as they do in World War II. A light tank will scout, spot the target. Once the target is spotted, you in your RT, TD, medium, heavy, are the light tank. You then shoot them, and that light tank, responsible for lighting up that target, gets the spotting assist. It's exactly the same. Now, because the concealment on this tank is so good, you can see the little concealment circle on the minimap. This, I've only played up to the T92, but I am yet to find another tank in the game that's got a concealment circle as small as that. This concealment is better than the Mauler. I think in Garage the T92 concealment stats are 62 meters, and the Mauler is 75. I think. So the T92 is the king of concealment. And, well, I mean, I don't even really need to say that. I mean, you can see it happening right here. I'm not doing anything. Well, I am. I'm spotting for the team, and I'm relying on my teammates to shoot the targets I light up. Normally, I would be nervous at this point because you've got tanks moving up around you, and something else I've picked up on with this tank is you kind of have to hold your nerve. You have to know the limits of your concealment. I know that guy's not going to see me, and another trick to also keep an eye on or make sure you follow is I've locked my turret. I've locked the gun in a direction where no enemy tanks are present. So I can look around without that guy being prompted that he's being targeted. Because it's one thing for him to know that he's spotted. He could be spotted from anywhere. But it's another thing for him to be targeted. If he's targeted, he knows that there is someone looking at him, and that's going to make him twitchy. I mean, you know what it's like. You don't mind being spotted so much, but as soon as the targeted indicator comes on, in your head you're thinking, right, need to find cover. If I want spotting assist from my teammates, I don't want him to be finding cover. So I lock the turret in a direction that no one's facing, and I let these guys come past me. I can't move, because if I move, they see me. My concealment is my weapon, so I have to stay still here. And, I mean, this game, the result from this game, don't think that you're going to get this every single match you play. This is the exception, and this is a very, very high exception, and I was absolutely thrilled to bits with this game because the result from this game is a personal best, but you have to hold you have to hold your nerve. You have to just sit there and wait. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the situation. Fortunately for me, I'm up against the boundary, so I don't have to worry about what's coming from, well, behind the, from this perspective, from behind the camera. I don't need to worry about that. But I do need to keep an eye on what's going on around me. Another catch to this great concealment is your concealment is fantastic. That you can see the enemy, they can't see you. The problem with that is if you come up against especially an enemy Mauler or an enemy T92, you could be chasing them and you can see them visually because of true vision, but because they're not spotted and you're not within the 32 meters that you need to be, they're not detected by the in-game system, which means you can't auto-lock them, which is basically what you really it's really what you want to be doing in a light tank if you're chasing a target. It does mean that spotting targets, chasing light tanks, especially Maulers and T92s, can be very difficult. Now, the majority of their enemy team has pushed up past my position, so I'm now falling back to the bush that I was in before. And at this point in the game, I'm looking at the top line. I know they've still got 2 light tanks left. That's why I'm not breaking cover, because light tanks will, light tanks go after you. In this mode, light tanks are just at each other. Anytime they're spotted, they're at each other because they are the advantage. Especially Sheridans with those derp guns, they will annihilate you. So again, using my concealment, I'm pushing up a little bit. None of these guys know I'm here. And I am thinking, at this point, I'm thinking I should probably contribute something to the game. He's a one-shot, so I think, yeah, I'll take him. Can't get... I do remember at this point, I'm thinking, that's a Russian. Even if my reticle's red, I'm not going to kill him. And I think I bounce a couple of shots. Yeah, that didn't go through. Behind cover, I can't see him. Bounced again. These damn Russians. And there's the kill. Got him. 4 versus 4. So now I've broken cover. I've been spotted for the first time. But you're detected for a very, very short amount of time. So as quickly as you show up, you can disappear. And that's where the smoke comes in. If you're spotted, and you're in a bit of a pickle and you need to get away, and you can't rely on the sixth sense indicator disappearing quick enough, just pop your smoke. And I tend to not drive directly away from my smoke. I'll pop smoke, drive through it, turn left or right immediately just to throw off whoever's chasing you. And 9 times out of 10 that works. Sometimes you get a Mobat driver that's persistent and just won't let you go, but hey. So I'm invisible again. Thinking about where should I be to be... Where do I need to position myself so that I am as useful as possible to the friendlies that are left on my team? We're down a tank. They've got 2 lights. I know that's an issue. I feel confident enough to take this Mobat because, fortunately for everyone fighting a Mobat, you shoot them up the backside, they burn really easily. So this guy had 1,000 hit points, and now he's dead. I lost, what's that? I lost 600 and... my maths is not great, 600 and something hit points there. But he's gone, it's now even. This is where you'll see, and again from memory, I think this is where you'll see the issue with chasing a light tank. Maulers are incredibly bouncy. I love the Mauler. You can probably tell from my previous video. I do love that tank. But I know that a one-on-one fight with a Mauler is a no-go for me. Absolute no-go. So even though I can see him... Well, he's dead now. I got the kill. I can't remember. My video is stuttering. I've computer issues, but I can't tell. If I was an auto-aim, then I spotted him. If it wasn't, then I got a lucky shot. But now it's 1 light versus 1 heavy, and I've seen the shots coming in from the hill. So I'm pushing up. Normally you wouldn't push over these hills because you know you get spotted, but in this thing you can be a lot more aggressive. A lot more aggressive. Now the last light tank is a Sheridan. He's, again from memory, he's sitting in C0. So I'll skip ahead to the end there rather than you watching me drive over the hill. And we're back. Up and over the hill. He's not spotted, but I see him moving around in the river. And this is a demonstration of just how good the concealment is. Still not spotted. Still not spotted. He's right there. There we go. It's crazy. And the friendly takes him out. Game over. And I got so excited at the end here, I didn't record the post-game results. I did, however, grab screenshots. So, let's take a look at the screenshots. There we go. 11,229 spotting assist. Only 1,500 damage. 3 kills. Kill stealing. But that was the spotting assist game of my tanking career. And that, ladies and gents, is how to play light tanks. Or that's how you play the T92 in Cold War. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I hope you're all still keeping safe. And I'll see you out there.